Hi there, I am Becky Amble, and I want to share a little artificial intelligence tip with you today. And what I'm going to do is share with you and tell you a little bit about Claude, because Claude is becoming more and more popular all the time. And I thought some of you might not have had a chance to look at it, so we're going to do that right now. And hopefully this will work right. I had to do this a couple times. Anyway, let me get that set up. Claude is a really great large language model or generative AI, which is run by a company called Anthropic. So we're going to go through this and I'll share with you. So Claude is the kind of the hot name out there now. And let's talk about what it does. Pretty much like any other LLM. You may or may not have looked at it. And if you haven't, I hope you'll take a chance and check it out. So it can be an AI assistant and help you with all kinds of things, like most of them can, in conversational. So you're just going to talk to it in plain language. We call that NLP, natural language processing. And it is built a little differently than the other LLMs. And because of how it is designed, it's built to be helpful and safe. I would still have your settings so that they're private. And let's talk a little bit about how to get to Claude. So you're going to go to Claude.ai in your browser, and somewhere probably Anthropic will show up, but you can find it using Claude.ai and then create a free account. You might be asked for your email and to create a password, or sometimes you'll just go to a Google, if you have Google accounts, type new chat when it comes up, and you just start typing and you're ready to go. Now, there is a free plan, just like with most of these, and it's really great for getting started. The free version is called Sonnet, and it does have limitations like how many messages or prompts you can do per day and how long. And, sometimes it'll space out and say, what does it say? I forget, but it tells you that it can't do anything more for you. Well, then just wait a while and you probably can. The Pro plan, the lowest priced Pro plan, is $20 a month, so it's pretty affordable. And you do get better quality, you get priority, you get faster return on your responses, you get probably more prompts that you can ask or more questions that you can ask. So it just gives you more flexibility. And what can it do? Well, let's talk about that. It can write. It can help write almost anything that you want, anywhere from email, frankly, to help it write you a book. You can research and summarize things. This is one of my favorite things to use Claude for, and that's where I will interview a number of people, and I've got the interview notes put into a document, and I will add all those documents to Claude, and then I will tell it to go organize the information, find the common themes, put them into categories. I will give it tons and tons of information about what I want it to do as far as analyzing that. And I might tell it, put it in a table, tell me how many times this comment happens, tell me what percentage it is. If there's a key comment out of any of the people that I've interviewed, reference that. So it is great for doing something like that. Now, I might be odd in that that's one of the things that I do a lot. You may or may not have that, but you could even put together, if you had 5 or 6 meetings and have those meeting minutes all summarized into one document, or all the action items. You can use it to brainstorm ideas, strategies, questions that you might have. You can, number 4 down here, analyze and solve things. If you've got some data, you can upload the data and tell it to go analyze it like I do with my research. Have it be a coach, an advisor, and have it create and edit things. You can give it something you have written and you can have it redo that. You can change the tone. You can have it make it shorter, or tell it what you're missing, or ask it what you're missing. So there are lots of great things you can do with it. And so let's talk about writing your first prompt. And most of you probably know that I have a process that I called CLEAR. There's 5 elements to prompting. There is really not a whole lot of mystery around prompting. You just want to be sure that you've got the pieces together so that you get good information back. And here you can see, be specific as much as possible, give it specific directions, If you want a particular format, paragraph format, bullets or whatever, tell it what you want and give it context. So tell it who you are, what you're trying to do. And it's also helpful to tell it who, if you're writing for a particular audience, who you're writing it for, and then refine it. You can go back and say, hey, put in a little humor or make this shorter, or it's missing some pieces, just whatever. You can go back and we call that iteration or refinement. Here you go. So some pro tips are when you're working with Claude, treat it like a conversation. You're just going to kind of talk back and forth. Assign the role. So if you're telling it to do something, tell it who it is in this particular context. Do you want it to be a CEO, a CFO, a CTO? Do you want it to be a board member? Do you want it to be a dog trader? I mean, whatever it is, give it that role because then you're going to get better output. And ask it to think step by step. That's actually a command that LLMs know. If you say step by step, it gets it and it will give it to you in that fashion. And you can upload files that you have, PDF, Word documents, images, you name it, you can put those in as well. Let's talk about some of the things it can do and some things that maybe not. So all of the LLMs are trained. That means they've gotten all this information that is in their system, and that is done at a certain point in time. So it might have been cut off in November of 2025, for example. And you can go ask Claude if you go into it and say, when were you last trained or trained? What's the cutoff date? Remember with any of these, Claude's no different. It can make mistakes. So be sure you verify things. And it might remember past conversations the more you use it. And I'm not sure, I think it might be more likely to do that if you have a paid account. I'm not really sure if that matters a whole lot. And as anything goes, keep your personal information out of this thing. It can be really good at creating a first draft if you're having an issue getting started. It can be great at doing that. It also is really good at taking complex information and putting it into simple language. Again, that might be how you prompt it. So tell it what you want it to do. And it can give you multiple versions of different things that you ask it to do. And it can be a good thought partner. So 3 things to try this week with Claude is sign up at Claude AI and get your account. You're probably going to see something that says Anthropic. That's fine. Go to Claude.ai. Takes you a couple minutes to set it up and try one real task from your week. What is one thing? An email, summarizing something, brainstorming with you, putting something together, planning a trip, and experiment and keep the conversation going. Just go back and forth and see what you can do with it. So I want to just stop here for a minute and I want to go back to, I'm going to reshare and want to see if we can get this going here. I wanted to show you, okay, close that. I want to go to Claude. Here we go. And share this with you. And this is what Claude looks like. Over here are all the things, a new chat, searching for chats, projects, artifacts, customizing this. And we're going to skip most of those. It can do things in code and co-work and design. Those are some of the newer features that are pretty amazing. Up here on the top, you can close the sidebar, open the sidebar. You can search for things. So if you go through and you do a lot of things with Claude, have a lot of prompts, a lot of questions to it, you can go here and you can type in whatever it is that you're searching for that you did before, but you can't remember exactly what you called it. And over here, you can see tons and tons of things I have done recently that will show up on your left margin. And here is the prompt box. And that's pretty much normal looking stuff. Sonnet 4.6 is the latest version. Look over here in the lower right, there's a little microphone, and I think it's great. You engage that and you just rattle off your question for it. Be sure you click the check mark. Otherwise, it'll disappear. The other thing that you can do, okay, now I probably need to get rid of that. You can also, there you go, see the little lines, the little vertical lines at the very lower right? That is where you use voice mode, and this allows you to talk back and forth to it. What I want to do is show you two along the bottom here, some things you can have it write, you can have it learn, code, life stuff, some basic things you can do. However, what's really useful is this little plus. So you can add files or photos. So I was just doing something for a presentation. So I uploaded one of my books and said, pull some things from my book. So that was a pretty big document and it had illustrations and all that kind of stuff and images. So that was pretty heavy duty document as far as storage space. You can do that. You can upload photos. You can have it take a screenshot. You can add to the project. You can do things with skills and connectors and plugins, which is a little bit more advanced. So just skip those for now. You can have it do research. If you click that, it goes into something called deep research. You could also just type in the words here. You could say do deep research if I could type it correctly. Well, it'll fix that. Anyway, you could have it do it that way, and it knows either way. If you have it do deep research, this just gives you more in-depth work on whatever you're asking it to do. So if you say, hey, go research dog training, for example, it's going to give you more information than it would in its standard prompt. Then the other thing on the plus I wanted to show you is web research. So if you want something that's current, hit the web research, then it'll get into current online research like a Google search does, and it will get you more timely, basically current information. Now, also you could type in the prompt box, you could say, go to the internet and research X. So depending on what you want to do, you've got some options, and take a look at Claude. I would encourage you to try it out and see what you think. And like I said, it has kind of become the latest hot topic out there in artificial intelligence world. And if you try it, let me know what you think. Let me know how it goes. Thanks, and we will see you next time.